I guess selling Ethereum at the top wasn't such a bad idea, guys, because right now Ethereum is literally dropping hard, as is Bitcoin. As you can see, I'm gonna talk about why I think Ethereum and Bitcoin can actually drop even harder. However, I've got a couple of multiple ideas for longs and short trades to be taken before or as the New York session opens. So if you want to watch and get into trades, watch this video till the end, because Ethereum I think could actually drop even harder. So let's get right into it. Let's switch to this our TA. I'll keep Ethereum for the later half or the other half on the video. However, let's start with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is literally dropping. We had a nice pump during Friday. We took or made a monthly low, got into a nice long, as you can see, from 112. However, as I've told you guys, it's not fully bullish sign, because although we got very high into the price of $117,000, however, we actually bounced and found resistance from this anchored VWAP. This is actually a nice volume tool that if you put it in the beginning of an uptrend or a downtrend, you can tell if this uptrend or a downtrend is still intact. As you can see, in our case, this is the downtrend made from the all-time high. As you can see, we basically got a nice pump. We got into long trades 3 days ago. However, we actually hit this anchored VWAP and then lost also the value area low. I told you it's very important before flipping super bullish. We need to break $116,000 and hold it as support. However, that didn't happen. We actually literally just lost the anchored VWAP, and then we actually lost the value area low, which is $115,300, which actually caused us to go much lower. Now, let me share a reason why Bitcoin actually dropped yesterday. As you can see, if you go to the lower time frame, let's delete this anchored VWAP and go to the 30-minute time frame. We can see that Bitcoin had a huge drop in one single candle. As you can see, this 15-minute time frame candle, as you can see, literally had a 4 or 3.6% drop from 17 or 14.7 thousand dollars down to 110.5 thousand dollars. As you can see, literally a drop of over $4,000. And as you can see from the screen, the reason why Bitcoin dropped very hard randomly in the middle of the weekend is because there was a whale that sold almost $2.7 billion worth of Bitcoin, dropping the price hard, which actually caused this huge move and a cascade of liquidations. However, I'm gonna mention a couple of bullish ideas that actually could signal us going back above once we got this flush to the downside. Basically, I've got two reasons to be bullish right now on Bitcoin, however, and how long it takes to get up. Firstly, I've got the first reason I've mentioned yesterday, which is actually because we have a poor high being put on Bitcoin right now. Before we saw this drop, we still made a poor high with high liquidity sitting literally close to this top, as you can see. So technically, I'm guessing there's a high possibility and likelihood of Bitcoin, once it finds supports, of us breaking this high and going back above $117,000. And the second reason for being bullish, or a bit bullish right now, to be honest, guys, is because Bitcoin has or had made a gap on the CME chart. As you can see, the chart or the gap is literally sitting at the top of the gap, is sitting at, I think, at around $117,000. So we got two reasons to be bullish or buy Bitcoin once we share the longs ideas I'm gonna share with you guys right now. Technically, I'm still super bullish on Bitcoin. However, and how long it can drop, it can literally drop to $107,000. However, I'm still technically thinking in the short to middle time frame, we can easily go back above to fill the gap and also to take this poor high. So I think there's an 80% chance, to be honest, of us breaking it. However, let me share the closest long ideas for Bitcoin. Technically, the New York session open is literally in, I think, 4 hours. Once the New York session opens, then we can actually look for a long once we break this low. I think the best long idea would be for us to take this low. I'm still waiting and expecting lower prices to come, because I think it's better for us to take this low, as you can see, which was put in the middle of the weekend when we had this flush to the downside. So technically, I'm still thinking that the best idea to long Bitcoin is for us to get a new low made, and then we can actually closely monitor Bitcoin. We either make a quick SFB, we take liquidity quickly, or we drop even further. I think that if we lose 110 or $109.8 thousand, we can also wait for this huge and massive support area at around $108 to $107,000. So we either get a quick bounce like this, and then we find SFP, we find liquidity, and then go high, or we actually get a much nicer, much better opportunity for us to liquidate all the longs before finding support and then going higher. So anyways, I'm still expecting lower to come. I still like to create a new low. As you can see, take this low and then find support. As I've said, this is the massive support area I'm looking at. We either slightly touch it and then go above, back above, or we don't see this close above, so we gotta wait for a much longer drop. Either way, I'm still expecting, to be honest, Bitcoin to take this high. If we drop to 107 or 108, that could be actually the best price to buy Bitcoin at. Now let me give you just a short or quick scalp short idea on Bitcoin too before I get into Ethereum. As you can see, if Bitcoin goes up before going and taking this low, as you can see, I'm also interested in a small scalp short idea. We've got this liquidity resting on or at $113,700, and we also got this anchored view up from the downtrend. So technically, if Bitcoin say keeps this low while or before the New York session opens and then we go high, maybe I'm thinking of taking a short back above or hitting $114,000, closing down below, and then maybe thinking about turning this into a long. So if you're looking for a scalp, there's a scalp opportunity at sitting at around $113.7 to $114,000. Now let me share also why I'm still thinking Ethereum could give us drop to the downside. As you can see, if you haven't watched my videos, a couple of videos ago, I think 2 videos ago, I posted and I shared why I sold ETH at $4,800, literally at the top, because I knew that once Ethereum had made an all-time high, it's very, very likely to give us a fake out. I actually sold on the first hit of the all-time high. As you can see, I sold literally at the top once we made the news of breaking and creating a new all-time high. I told you that it's very likely for us to get a fake out. However, actually I was kind of wrong, but still also right at the same time, because Ethereum got into the weekend, faked us again, and then gave us the actual drop. So technically the idea or the thesis still stands. However, it gave us a much harder idea to get or to execute before going down. So technically I'm still looking for a drop on Ethereum. Even if it bounces right now, I've got the idea of actually shorting. If Ethereum, say Bitcoin, before creating this low, before creating a new low at $110,000 or 110.5, say it gives us this nice bounce at 114 before going down. This also adds a confluence to the idea of Ethereum going back above, hitting $4,000 or $4,700, and then giving us a nice short trade to be had, because we took liquidity, made this fake out. Now we can actually go into a downtrend. As you can see, I've got this idea of the Elliott wave, as you can see, ABC, possibly turning this into a downward move, as you can see, especially because I'm expecting, to be honest, lower to come on Bitcoin. We got bearish CVD, a huge longs being opened on Bitcoin. So I'm technically thinking we can definitely either go down once New York opens or go back above, get the short before making a new low. This actually plays well with Ethereum still going down. I still got this idea of us right now either from the current price action or following the ABC Elliott wave, hitting $4,700, getting into a nice short before dropping to 4,300. I think the target for Ethereum, if it fails to break or go back above 47,000 or 4,700, then it's actually 4,300, as you can see. And actually that would be the best place to think about getting into a long trade. As you can see with the volume profile, if you put it from the beginning of us breaking $4,000 to the current price action, you can see that we've got this huge volume point of control sitting at 4,300, along with the NPUC also at the same price, and we got some support, some small support at 4,200. So I'm still thinking that technically if this ABC plays out, then we can actually look to buy Ethereum at 4,300 to 4,200, and then maybe putting an Elliott wave, bullish Elliott wave, as you can see, maybe looking for something much higher on Ethereum. To be honest, I haven't thought about the higher prices, to be honest. I'm just thinking right now of this short ideas, then getting into this long idea based on us also thinking or having the same thesis and understanding on Bitcoin. Thanks for watching, guys.